the Republic of Croatia. What makes this country, which has long attracted numerous tourists, enthusiasts of its antiquity, and history explorers, so special? Join us on a video journey through the heart of the Adriatic to attempt to provide comprehensive answers to these questions. Croatia is small, cozy, hospitable, yet extraordinarily diverse. And each major city or small town in this Mediterranean state is beautiful in its own way. The choice of which one to visit now depends entirely on your goals, individual preferences, personal needs, and of course, financial capabilities. Yes, Croatia is a country with a millennium-long history, culture, unique traditions, and exceptional nature, rightfully called the Pearl of the Adriatic. The mild climate, clean sea, and well-developed leisure infrastructure have made Croatia, first and foremost, a beloved destination for millions of tourists worldwide. Those who love beach leisure, combined with sightseeing tourism, are particularly drawn here. In Croatia, every traveler can expect unique natural landscapes, medieval city quarters, and captivating guided routes through their historical landmarks. It is well known that some coastal Croatian cities have over 2,000 years of history. Consider the ancient Trogir, founded in the 3rd century BCE, or the luxurious Dubrovnik, a true pearl of the Adriatic, that during the Middle Ages rivaled Venice in beauty and urban planning. Each of Croatia's ancient seaside towns resembles an impregnable fortress, which to this day preserves its historical past. Almost all of Croatia's cities have witnessed many wars, with the most recent one ending just 20 years ago. But the Croatians love their country with its challenging yet simultaneously interesting history so much that they meticulously restored all the cities, fortresses, and cult buildings, literally stone by stone. Croatia enchants guests with the unique charm of narrow cobblestone streets, houses with terracotta tiled roofs, and of course, the astonishing hospitality of the locals, who are always welcoming, kind, and open to communication. Let's go, as the cities of Croatia await us, promising a stay and leisure that is a true paradise, without the slightest exaggeration. If you find yourself fortunate enough to visit the Croatian city of Dubrovnik, be prepared for the fact that time in this city has almost stood still. At every step, the past envelops you, instantly shrouding you and subtly erasing modernity, inviting you to the hoary antiquity. Dubrovnik is not just a city with a rich history and distinctive architectural design. It embodies an engaging medieval fairy tale. It is truly called the tourist Mecca of Croatia, welcoming many guests throughout the year. Founded by Byzantine settlers in the 7th century on a small island near the coast, Dubrovnik saw its channel separating the island from the shore filled in the 12th century. The island transformed into a peninsula, and the former channel became the central street of the city, Stradun. As early as 1468, almost for the first time after Rome, it was paved with cobblestones, the foundation of which has remarkably survived to this day. The original name of the city was Ragusa, and its origin is linked to the same island on the Croatian coast visited by the first settlers. The contemporary name, according to one version, is associated with the fact that the settlement was surrounded by dense oak forests. However, this is not the only version of the toponymic name's origin, as oak groves existed around other settlements, but did not leave an imprint on their onomastics. Well, we await linguistics and historians to provide new convincing evidence. Nevertheless, for many centuries, both names were easily used in everyday language. The descendants of the Roman population usually called the city Ragusa, while the Croats exclusively referred to it as Dubrovnik. The picturesque Dubrovnik undoubtedly remains forever in the memories of visitors. Why? Thanks to the magical medieval alleys with the same ancient cobblestones, the graceful beauty of palaces, and cult buildings. This city is home to unique landmarks of history and architecture, whose ancient walls harmoniously coexist with modern, comfortable hotels, shops, restaurants, and cafes. Undoubtedly, the resort city will offer you the best beaches in Croatia, with a crystal-clear Adriatic Sea. Dubrovnik is an ancient city. Since the Middle Ages, its prosperity was based on maritime trade, allowing the former Republic of Dubrovnik to be the only city-state in the eastern Adriatic capable of competing with Venice. Thanks to its wealth and successful overseas trade, the city remarkably thrived during the 15th and 16th centuries. In Dubrovnik, art and science flourished, and the city became one of the centers for the development of the Croatian language. For a long time, the Dalmatian language was actively used in Dubrovnik, which is now completely lost. The past generations left a stunning architectural legacy in Dubrovnik, which, combined with the wonders of local nature, earns the city the title of the most beautiful in Europe. UNESCO rightfully recognized Dubrovnik as the best city of the Renaissance in the Old World, and it is included in the prestigious list of World Heritage Sites, unquestionably proving its significance to global culture. At the dawn of the Renaissance, the free-spirited Dubrovnik, a city fortress, securely defended itself against unwelcome guests. Houses hid behind fortress walls, and approaches from land and sea were guarded by Fort Bokar and the fortress of St. John. Reliable city walls began construction as early as the 13th century for protection against attacks. Their thickness ranges from approximately 13 to 20 feet, and their height reaches around 82 feet in some places, extending almost 1.24 miles along the coastline. The first thing that catches the eye when walking on the city walls is the characteristic terracotta roofs. All houses in Old Dubrovnik are built in a unified style: light gray walls and reddish roofs. The craftsmanship of making special tiles was passed down from generation to generation, and the secrets of the old masters are kept under lock and key. Therefore, for roof repairs today, a different tile is used, of course, also terracotta in color. However, the shade of the new roofs is slightly brighter, which sometimes stands out from the overall color palette, but does not spoil the traditional color scheme of the city. Dubrovnik is a unique place. It enchants and literally envelops you in a fairy tale atmosphere. It is the city that captivates you from the first minutes of your stay. Cozy ancient streets, an unparalleled sense of antiquity, picturesque landscapes, and the gentle sea. Dubrovnik is a treasure trove, and everyone will find at least one gem for themselves when opening it. In the southern part of Croatia, in the historical region of Dalmatia, lies the city of Split. One of the oldest in the country, and the second most populous after the capital, Zagreb. The city was built around the ancient palace of the Roman Emperor Diocletian, who expressed a desire to find peace after abdicating the throne. Precisely here, on the cozy shores of the Adriatic in Croatia. The luxurious palace of the former Roman dignitary, like all historical and architectural monuments of Split, is included in the UNESCO World Heritage List. This is quite natural because in the old town, you can still see remnants of Roman walls, fortifications, squares, and cult structures. Split is an amazing port city, considered the capital of Dalmatia. The locals call it the Mediterranean flower, and will convince any interlocutor in a moment that it is the most beautiful in the world. And it's true. Split seems to hide in a beautiful bay between the mountains and the Adriatic Sea. Romans, Croats, Hungarians, Venetians, and Austrians lived here in the past. So the influence of the cultures of these peoples is evident. The city amazes with architectural diversity, vividly displaying the polynational features. That's why Split is extremely attractive to visit as a unique Mediterranean sea. Moreover, it is renowned as a well-developed European resort, with a high-quality tourist infrastructure. If you plan to have a beach holiday here, it's better to do so from May to October, although the so-called velvet season will be equally attractive. For exploring its attractions, the shoulder seasons, spring and autumn, would be more comfortable. In the days of the Roman Empire, the territory of modern Split was a Roman province. Remnants of the Byzantine architectural style can still be observed in the northwest part of its historic center. It is believed that in the 3rd century AD, the Roman Emperor Diocletian was born here. As noted earlier, after abdicating the throne, he settled in the palace built for him, where his burial place is also located. Therefore, it is not surprising that Diocletian's palace is the main historical landmark of Split and an unequivocal symbol of the city. It is one of the most well-preserved ancient structures of its kind in Europe. In fact, the entire historical center of Split is concentrated around this ancient palace complex. It has a rectangular shape with a length of 623 feet and a width of 525, The building is conveniently divided into 4 parts by 2 streets. In the south, there was the villa of Diocletian with the main square called Peristyle, a mausoleum, and 2 temples. The northern part of the palace was built as a typical Roman military camp. As befits a palace, it is surrounded by high walls with massive corner towers. 4 gates lead to it: the golden, silver, bronze, and iron gates. This structure played a crucial role in the safety of Split, protecting the locals during wars and from sudden raids by barbarians. Just as in Italy, all roads lead to the Eternal City. In Split, they converge to the majestic imperial building made of white stone. In the sunlight, it looks truly impressive. It is worth noting that the same stone, which was brought from the island of Brock for the future luxurious palace, was significantly later used to clad the White House in Washington. And it must be said, Croatians are very proud of this fact. The peristyle is one of the most important and beautiful parts of Diocletian's palace. Initially, it was the inner courtyard of the emperor's villa. One of its main features is the traditional Roman colonnade. Most likely, Diocletian did not waste time here, but made fateful political decisions, met honorable guests, and conducted negotiations during important diplomatic audiences. The vestibule of Diocletian's palace has been preserved excellently to this day. According to archaeologists and historians, the walls and floor of the vestibule were laid with marble slabs and adorned with original mosaics. And the palace dome was decorated with unique colored frescoes. Interestingly, the building is rectangular on the outside, but has a round internal geometry. The perfectly aligned 1,000-year-old bricks and the walls adorned with numerous niches that once housed marble sculptures create an intriguing atmosphere. The collapse of the dome and the cause behind its destruction remain unclear, possibly influenced by the relentless passage of time. Now, Split's luxurious Diocletian's palace finds its dome in the azure sky. Equally noteworthy is People's Square, with its origins dating back to the 15th century in Split's historic center. The square boasts various structures reflecting Renaissance, Gothic, and Venetian architectural styles. The Gothic Cambi Palace and the Renaissance-style Town Hall, now housing the Ethnographic Museum of Split, stand out as particularly beautiful. Girgurninski's statue, a 10th century bishop pivotal in shaping Croatia's traditions, welcomes a customary touch of his foot for good luck among tourists. So if you find yourself in Split, friends, give it a try. Following this, a leisurely stroll through the adjacent alleys of People's Square, reminiscent of Rome, especially with houses featuring charming shuttered windows, is worthwhile. Numerous cozy cafes beckon with local delicacies, offering a delightful fusion of Croatian and Italian flavors in Dalmatian cuisine. Among the region's renowned dishes is soparnik, a vegetable pie. Seafood enthusiasts will also be pleased with an array of options. Don't hesitate to savor everything before heading to Fruit Square, another must-visit location in Split. The name, rooted in ancient times when the square hosted a spontaneous fruit market, endures despite the absence of figs and grapes for sale today. The square's charm lies in its popularity among locals, providing a respite from excessive tourist activity, mainly concentrated around Diocletian's imperial palace. Fruit Square in Split preserves the 15th century Venetian tower, the statue of the 15th century Croatian writer Marulic, and the Baroque facade of the 17th century Militic dynasty palace. Amidst the antiquity, enjoy a cup of aromatic coffee with friends, or revel in pleasant contemplation when alone. Unpleasant thoughts have no place in Split. Absolutely. The city of Rovinj, situated on the western coast of the Croatian Istria Peninsula, stands as one of the 9 major cities in the region. It is rightfully referred to as a city of the perfect summer. Untouched nature, the gentle waves of the Adriatic Sea, and when seen from a bird's eye view, it even resembles a morning dewdrop. Along the coastline of the so-called Old Rovinj, 22 islands are scattered, with the largest being the picturesque islands of St. Andrew and St. Catherine. The more contemporary part of the city of Rovinj stretches along the coast to the north and south of the peninsula. The northernmost boundary of Rovinj runs along the scenic Lim Canal, formed during the Ice Age, and is now a beautiful protected area. The city's history dates back to somewhere between the 3rd and 5th centuries. According to archaeological surveys, the first settlements appeared here in the Bronze and Iron Ages. In the 18th century, Rovinj became an important maritime port, leading to active development. Educational institutions were established, a chamber of commerce was founded, a steam factory for pasta production was inaugurated, and factories started opening. Kerosene lamps illuminated the evening Rovinj, considered a marvel in the late 18th century in the Balkans. The city hospital began receiving its first patients, and the first theater on the peninsula raised its curtain. Modern Rovinj is a pleasant, exceptionally cozy town that seems to have been lost in time, or confused it, making it more attractive. It's a place you fall in love with at first sight. The city exudes a special romantic atmosphere, created by colorful, narrow streets, small, tidy squares, ancient stone houses, a magnificent panorama of the Adriatic Sea, beautiful beaches, and green parks. In short, Rovinj offers genuine aesthetic pleasure. Strolling through shady alleys with numerous shops, you will inevitably reach the waterfront, where friendly boatmen will offer you a sea excursion to nearby islands with equally charming small towns, where a leisurely paced life prevails. Yielding to the suggestion, you'll find yourself alone with the sea, intoxicating scents of lavender, and the noisy seagulls. In the center of Rovinj rises the bell tower of the Cathedral of St. Euphemia, the tallest structure on the Istria Peninsula. Its height is 203 feet, and there is an observation deck on the bell tower, accessible by a steep staircase. From there, the surrounding beauty of Rovinj unfolds like the palm of your hand. There's a small lighthouse, remnants of wartime battles, the vast sea, and luxurious pine trees behind it. From the Cathedral of St. Euphemia, you find yourself on the picturesque narrow street, Grisia. And instantly, the impression is created that you have entered Italy. Typical Italian architecture, old houses, and laundry drying on the lines. It all feels like Italy. Rovinj belonged to the Venetian Republic for 5 centuries, and after World War I, it became a part of Italy. All signs and street names in Rovinj are written in 2 languages, Croatian and Italian. Rovinj is nothing short of a Venetian masterpiece. The modern Rovinj is like a picturesque city, a true work of art. The cobblestone streets have been worn smooth by centuries of pedestrians, making them a bit slippery to navigate. Between some houses, you'll find stairs leading down to the sea. And at the bottom, there's either a small restaurant with 2 or 3 tables or a shop. What's interesting is that alongside the simple stone houses in Rovinj, you'll find towering ancient palaces. The charming Rovinj courtyards are always adorned with flowers. Grisia is Rovinj's well-known creative street, boasting many colorful art establishments and galleries. While in Rovinj, make it a goal to visit the interactive Batana Museum. After your visit, you'll forever remember that a batana is an ancient fishing boat. Also, recall the laid-back atmosphere of the nearby cafe, where you can comfortably settle in on fishing nets and sacks that smell of the sea, fish baskets in pleasant anticipation. Waiting for the friendly establishment owners to bring delicious oysters and scallops from the Lim Bay Oyster Farm. Where can you find the best seafood dishes? Exactly where they cultivate them. Once again, according to the Guinness World Records, the Croatian town of Hum holds the title of the smallest on the planet, with a mere 72 residents. It's truly a fairy tale-like town, preserving its original appearance since medieval times. Visiting here is akin to stepping back in time. Hum is appealing because it hasn't altered its external appearance since the 11th century. Residents have hardly built anything beyond the medieval walls, so the town's central square remains as it was 1,000 years ago. All the houses on Hum's only 2 streets look the same as they did on the day they were built. The town has very few inhabitants, but they deeply respect ancient traditions. Getting to Hum is quite challenging. Tourist buses rarely visit, so those who want to go there should use a car. A narrow paved rural road leads to the town, passing under a high viaduct carrying a highway. Beyond that, you have to head uphill, taking a dirt road through the forest. The forest road is so narrow that it's difficult to pass oncoming traffic. Perhaps that's why tourist buses don't make it here. Paying 10 Croatian kunas, about €1.50, to enter Hum, you find yourself in the Middle Ages. The town has only 2 streets and 13 houses. You can walk around it in 15 to 20 minutes, maybe even less. The streets and houses are entirely authentic, as nothing has changed here for more than 500 years. It creates a lasting impression that you have truly entered the Middle Ages. It feels like, in a moment, a door will creak, a latch will jingle, and a resident in ancient Roman attire will come out of some house. Well, visiting this Croatian town creates the impression that you have traveled back in time. Everything here is authentic. People live in ancient houses on historic streets, preserving traditions with deep respect and embodying warmth and friendliness. One thing in this place reminds you that it's the 21st century outside. A telephone booth. Against the backdrop of the millennia-old Hum, it looks like a marvel of civilization. If all of Croatia resembles a dragon from above, then Dalmatia would be its body and legs. The central part, its wings, Zagreb, its heart, and the Istria Peninsula, its head. In such figurative comparisons, only a small part is likely fiction. The rest, as they say, is pure truth. Right in the midst of enchanting Istria lies the beautiful medieval town of Motovun. Founded in the 10th century, it rises on a hill 984 feet above sea level. Romans, Celts, Illyrians, Italians, Austrians, Croats. Throughout the centuries, they were all citizens of Motovun and left behind numerous landmarks of their national cultures. According to legend, the city was founded by a giant named Veli Jože, who later became its patron. Motovun developed within the fortress walls, gradually descending the slopes of the hill to the foothills. During the rule of the Venetian Republic, another protective symbol appeared for the city, an image of a lion with a closed book. This symbol is still preserved. Even today, the city gates serve as the entrance to Motovun. Ancient inner gates, adorned with images of lions, lead to the city's market square and the Church of St. Stephen. Interestingly, in front of the church, a medieval well has been preserved, depicting the outline of the city. An outstanding attraction of Motovun is the millennium-old staircase, laid from the foot of the hill to the main square, considered the longest staircase on the peninsula. Only the inexorable passage of time has taken its toll. The staircase is very slippery, so when you have to climb it, be careful. Motovun is often called the most romantic town on the Istria Peninsula. On the happiest day of their lives, newlyweds willingly come here to capture memorable photos amidst the incomparable beauty of the local nature. The same, perhaps, attracts tourists from around the world. You can only reach the medieval Motovun by car. Along the way, charming Mediterranean houses will please your eyes. All of them have red-tiled roofs and are surrounded by lush greenery amid endless meadows and fields. The ecologically clean area is entirely planted with vineyards, olive groves, and beech forests. The chirping of birds will charm you. It only emphasizes the idyllic atmosphere prevailing around. You will have to climb up to the town on foot, since reaching the city by tourist bus on a steep hill is practically impossible. You also have to leave your car at the foot of the hill. These are the visiting rules for guests. If you have to walk, don't worry about possible fatigue. The beauty that will unfold before you will more than compensate for the challenging ascent. The inaccessibility of Motovun for tourists, on the one hand, creates certain difficulties. On the other hand, it gives the city a unique atmosphere of seclusion. Isn't that why you came here? To be honest, as you climb up, you may not encounter a single person. Only neat, charming houses with courtyards adorned with flowers and bushy greenery. This beauty will instantly dispel fatigue and create a good mood on the way. On your journey, you'll come across the charming courtyards of hotels, small family cafes, and restaurants. The longer you traverse the path, the more enchanted you'll become by this doll-like town. Believe me, that's exactly how it is. Motovun's population is just under 500 people. It's immediately noticeable that the locals love their town very much and take care of it every day. Every corner is clean and uncluttered. There's a complete absence of litter, and all houses, without exception, are adorned with pots of bright flowers. Beautiful silence reigns everywhere. There is no industrial enterprise in Motovun whatsoever, and the residents are primarily engaged in natural farming or earn their living from tourism. Strolling through the intricate narrow streets, you begin to understand why this is strictly a pedestrian zone, and the movement of vehicles is prohibited. It's simple. Cars cannot pass each other here at all. To see the beauty unfolding from above, it's worth climbing the fortress wall. The unsurpassed beauty of central Istria with a panoramic view of the Mirna River Valley is simply mesmerizing. And you will immediately understand why it is often compared to the Italian Tuscany. In the souvenir shop nearby, you can buy traditional olive oil, various trinkets that will remind you of Croatia, and the famous truffles. Let's talk about them separately. Motovun has long been considered the truffle capital. Local dense forests are full of this delicacy. It's not surprising that the locals will tell you an interesting story related to truffles at the slightest opportunity. In 1999, the largest white truffle in the world was found right in Motovun. Its length was 7.6 inches, width almost 5. And the weight of this unique find was over 2 pounds. The cost of the truffle was estimated at $5,000. However, the decision was made not to sell the truffle, but to attract tourists to Istria for its tasting. This laid the foundation for gastronomic truffle tourism. Interestingly, the Italian who was fortunate enough to find the giant truffle founded the brand Gigante Tartufi. Today, it is the leading truffle producer in Croatia and its regular exporter to the United States. In addition, according to the ancient Istrian tradition, a truffle fair is held annually in Motovun and nearby villages in October and November. For gourmets, it's a complete gastronomic delight. If you have the opportunity, friends, be sure to visit. In almost all hotels, there is no vacant space when the Motovun Film Festival takes place in the city at the end of July and the beginning of August. For those who are not lucky enough to book accommodation, a tent city is set up. Since its foundation in 1999, the festival has been the main cinematographic event in Croatia. Its feature is that the Motovun Film Festival is entirely dedicated to films shot in small and independent studios, and premieres are shown outdoors in the city square. Not only actors and directors from Croatia, but from the whole world consider it an honor to attend this event. The best film is awarded a prize in the form of wind turbine blades near Motovun. By the way, at one time, The American actor Kurt Russell received such an award. Thanks to the erasure of boundaries between the audience and movie stars, the festival is one of Croatia's most important social projects. Thousands of fans climb Motovun's hill. Moreover, most of them do it for the atmosphere, not for watching films. And of course, to get the coveted autograph from their idols. The town of Gradac is situated in the southern part of Croatia, a charming, exceptionally quiet, and enticing destination for those seeking a break from the hustle and bustle of a big city. If you fall into that category, this is the place for you. It's widely known that within Croatia's relatively small size, there are numerous natural and historical landmarks. Beautiful resort locations that attract a considerable number of visitors year-round. The prevalent popularity of larger cities, whether we desire it or not, typically brings about a larger crowd. In Gradac, however, it's quite the opposite. It creates the impression that the Adriatic Sea is playfully revealing its gentle waves, exclusively for you. So what is this elusive happiness? Croatian Gradac? Although lacking in standout historical landmarks with widespread recognition, Gradac boasts unparalleled natural beauty, comfort, hospitality, and the warm-heartedness of its residents. Anyone who has visited Gradac even once insists unanimously that they've never witnessed a better sunset anywhere else in their entire lives. Such a night is too ephemeral. And no matter where you greet the morning, whether it's the small and charming Gradac or any other city in Croatia, it will captivate you with a Mediterranean harmony of tranquility and beauty, enhancing the splendor of life. Witness it for yourself. Urgent matters have existed, exist, and will always persist. Thus, whenever possible, set forth to Croatia, the authentic jewel on the shores of the Adriatic Sea. The sunny state awaits you.